Hi, this is Connie from Prosperity Finance. Welcome to the channel. In this video, I was really lucky to invite a top performer real estate agent. You're probably very familiar with his name because you will see his name everywhere, especially if you see a commercial shop on the front gate, you will see his name. Let me tell you, he's Michael Chen from James Law. Michael is a top performer real estate agent. He has over 10 years experience in dealing with commercial lease and commercial sale. And recently, he also involved some large development projects. So he's also specialized in apartments and subdivision sales, etc. Let's welcome Michael. Thanks very much for your time today.
No, that's okay.
Michael, can you give us some introduction about what you're doing and what you have achieved so far?
No, okay. My name is Michael. I work for a firm called James Law Realty. So I've been doing real estate since 2009. So it's almost 10 years. So when I first started, the market was at the bottom. So so now it's not the worst time. I think now is quite a good time actually. Okay, so I've been dealing with commercial real estate for a long time, and I managed to help over 100 commercial landlords to find their tenant and secure the lease. So I think I am quite specialized in the commercial property area, and for the past few years I am heavily involved in new development, such as hotel, apartments, and sections. So, for the past few years, quite good. Now things are slowing down. Now I'm back to my commercial field.
Yeah. I'm sure you are very specialized in your industry because I heard you just written a book, become an author. Can you talk more about your book, Michael?
Well, I think I'm the only Chinese one wrote the book.
Wow,
this is
well done. And it's written in English, is it?
Written in simple English.
Okay, so
the point of this book is just to tell all the audience that the experience I've been receiving for past 10 years selling real estate, tell them how to things like doing staging photograph, how do you doing your marketing research for your own property, how to run your open home if you decide not to go with an agent, right? So,
you will find the link in this video below.
Yeah.
Thanks, Michael. I really impressed with that book. A lot of people actually underestimate how much work a real estate agents put in to get that results. And some people even use their friends just do them a favor. But in fact, it's actually a professional service. There's a lot of expertise involved in it.
The cheapest agent will cost you the most.
Yeah.
Okay. So mainly, like you said, there's a lot of work involved in our work.
Yeah.
So it's
right.
not.
I think like when you help a particular client, probably take a couple months. But in fact, to get to the results, they actually require many years experience. So you can't just judge their fee just based on how much time they put in. It's actually the specialty, the experience that they're actually buying. So that's really good point, Michael. Okay, Michael, the reason I invite you to this show is because recently I had a lot of inquiry about purchasing commercial property. I guess part of the reason is that there's so many policies that came out recently that includes, foreign buyer ban and bright line rule, and lots of them are actually against, buying residential property, but they at the same time, they exclude commercial property. So people are thinking maybe it's a time to think about alternative investments. And also, residential market is a plateau at the moment, so people doesn't see the growth. So maybe commercial is a better choice. However, there's a lot of people actually had little knowledge about commercial property. So in today's show, I just wonder if you could share with us what is the main differences between a residential property and commercial property?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely no problem. So the big difference, just like you said, people think the residential property is going to be flat for the next few years. So now we should change our focus to high yield property. So that's my first point. The cash return, the yield return, we call it yield return, for the commercial in Auckland, for $1 million property, which is the average house price in Auckland, is about 5% to 5.5% net yield return. However, if you spend $1 million buying a house in Auckland and you take out all your expense, such as body corp rates, management expense, maintenance, etc., it's about 3% at the end of the day. So compared to residential, commercial will give you more cash return annual. So it's about 5. So that's reason one. The other reason I want to share is for residential, there are too many rules at the moment. Government is putting too many regulations, such as you have to install what they call the insulation, maybe air conditioning later on. Okay, there's too many rules. But with commercial property, there's only one lease agreement, and the tenant, they pretty much look after the property by themselves. So for example, there's like a toilet broken. So in a shop, who do you think will fix it? So the tenant, they fix it straight away. But with commercial, like two-bedroom unit, the tenant will call the property manager or the landlord to come and fix for them. So that's the difference. With residential, you involve a lot of your time, effort to do the maintenance and management. But with commercial, a lot less management. With the time you save, you can do a lot of other things. You can try to do another business. That's also very important. Okay, so with tenant, we know, for example, a two-bedroom unit or apartment in the city. In Auckland, especially, the occupancy rate is so low at the moment. So it'll be like 2 weeks out of a year will be empty, but the rest of the week there will be tenant paying the rent. So this is very good for the cash flow and the certainty for the bank point of view. But with commercial, there's a risk for a long period of occupancy. So there's a risk, I think, for your client, for the buyer to take into the account. So when they, are thinking purchasing commercial property. And also, see, with tenant, commercial tenant tend to sign longer lease, like 3 years, minimum 3 years, quite standard. But with residential, it's a 1 year lease, 1 year rent, right? So after 1 year, they can decide to extend another 6 months, or they can just move without paying any, the letting fee now. So tenant no longer paying letting fee, though there's no barrier for them to shift around. So this is very bad for the residential landlord now. Okay, so with funding, I think Connie knows well about that. So if you want to buy a commercial property, the funding requirement is higher than you buying a residential property, right? So you need a better cash flow. Your background may be stronger, before you can buy a commercial property. So anything you want to...
Excellent, Michael. Thank you so much for the insights. It's really, really valuable. What I take from your what you just said is that commercial definitely has a pros and cons. The advantage, I guess, is about longer lease and better yield, and also landlord has to be involved a lot in terms of maintenance. So they are really, really good for people who's after cash flow and who's busy with their life and other things. So that will be a really good choice. And also at the moment with the residential, there's a lot of changes in terms of the tax rule and the capital growth, they probably it's better to diversify their property portfolio to add a commercial property. But on the other hand, I also heard what you said about the cons, which is disadvantage, and they are maybe a high deposit to purchase. We can discuss the next topic in terms of funding for commercial property, and also just bear in mind there might be a long vacancy period. So Michael, just in terms of vacancy, from your experience, what is the average vacancy period?
It really depends on the location. A lot of factors: location, size of the property. I think most likely it's the timing, because there's no such thing as bad location, bad shop. I mean, you can see some tenants stay there for a long period of time, 20 years. Then the tenant leave. They take the landlord 2 years to find another tenant, maybe. So that tenant will stay another 20 years. So it's not really about how long the vacancy period is. Really about the timing, I think, and how you present your property. You have to do it all right in order for the new, the right tenant to show up. I mean, just don't miss out the right tenant if there is one. Okay, so there's the commercial leasing agent will tell you how do you present your property, how do you negotiate a lease with a new tenant, because landlord doesn't have as much experience as we do. Because we sign lease pretty much every week, but they do it maybe 3 years, once 3 years. Okay, they own big properties, but they don't do as many lease as we do. So just talk with lease agent. So give a market feedback, how much your property can be leased, how long it can be leased for, something like that.
Great. It's really interesting, Michael, because that's something I didn't know. So I saw some buildings, especially around my offices, they are vacant for quite a long time. But I guess from what you said, if you look at a longer term, if they sign a long lease, say like 10 years, some even longer, right? If you look at the next 10, 20 years, the vacancy is probably not as big as residential. With residential, you probably get tenants in 2 weeks, but every 6 months or every 12 months, they leave, you'll have to make allowance for another couple of weeks. So it's all add up. So that's what I really I just realized from what you're talking about. The second thing, I guess, is to just let people know that if you're not familiar with investing commercial, getting tenants, it's probably a better idea to get a commercial lease agent to help you out. Yes, there will be a cost. Nothing is free these days, but I guess it's about the return on your investment. If you can get a really good tenants in the quickest way, then it's definitely worth the investment. So thank you so much, Michael. There's so much insight. I know there's still a lot of things we haven't discussed, but as a first session, I think it's really very insightful, very informative to give the audience an idea in terms of if commercial property is a good choice for the investment. In the future, we'll invite you back and we can talk about other aspects of commercial property. Again, thank you so much for your time, Michael. We'll put your contact detail in the link below so people can find you if they're interested in buying commercial or lease commercial.
Okay, thank you.
Right. Thank you so much for watching our show today. I hope you find it useful. If you know someone is interested in buying commercial property or renting commercial property, please feel free to contact Michael to get expert help. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye, Michael.
Bye-bye.